But the fact that they're now starting to back off on this, why do you think that's happening?
Well, it was an amazing victory for the Fluoride Action Network with help from the Environmental Working Group and Beyond Pesticides. This has been an 8-year effort on our part to demonstrate that they cannot introduce this sulfuryl fluoride for the treatment of food in warehouses and processing plants because our kids are already exceeding the reference dose, the safe dose. We know that. They're already overexposed to fluoride. So the way the pesticide division works, they establish a reference dose, and the combination of the pesticides plus the background must not exceed the reference dose. But if you're exceeding the reference dose before you've added a speck of the pesticide, then clearly you can't do it. They try to change...
Again, fluoride as a pesticide.
Yeah.
Because it's so good for our children.
This
is hiding in plain view. We need to give the children a pesticide. What type of conspiracy theorist are you? I don't see no whores going there, Governor.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. But they changed the reference dose 3 times to try to accommodate Dow AgroSciences. And when we threatened to take them for court, we had a wonderful lawyer, pro bono lawyer in Washington, Perry Wallace. And we said, okay, if you don't respond to our appeals, this has been going for 8 years. We've been appealing and intervening.
I've had you on. You never bragged that it was your group that did this.
Well, it's my wife. My wife was the person that forced us all to pay attention to...
She was the one that came to you and showed it to you, and you said, that's crazy. Then you read the documents.
That's right. 15 years ago, she put these papers on my desk and said, Paul, will you read these? I said, what is it? She said, fluoridation. I said, take that away. These people are crazy. I was very embarrassed when she finally forced me to read it. It's not these people that are crazy, but some of the people in the government who are crazy. You know what? I've tried to work out for 15 years. You notice in our book, it's the last chapter, trying to understand motivations. Now, for the rank-and-file dentists and doctors, it's very simple. They're too busy treating patients to read the literature. Most of them don't. You've got a wonderful guy in Austin, Griffin Cole. He's a dentist. He has read the literature, and he's very much opposed to it. Very important man, Griffin Cole. But most dentists and doctors don't have time to read the literature. We do, of course, 3 professors here, retired professors at that. Then you've got the people in the middle of the bureaucracy. Basically, they are trained not to question policy. Policies determined in Washington or in the state.
It's like the military. They follow orders.
They follow orders, literally. And the CDC, remember, is in uniform. It's a uniform branch of the Department of Health and Human Services, CDC. They're in uniform. Surgeon General. As you say, it's a chain of command. So don't expect the middle bureaucrats. Don't expect the health officers in the cities.
And then the big chemical companies, they lobby the politicians that give the orders to the bureaucrats, who give the orders to the unquestioning minions that then put it in our water. And meanwhile, it's a pesticide. I mean, they had a guy in California a few months ago who went into a house that was being gassed to kill bed bugs. Yeah. He walked in, a homeless guy, for like a minute, and it killed him. And it killed him, and it said...
That's the same stuff. That's sulfuryl fluoride.
Yeah.
Being used, Vicane, being used for years to fumigate buildings.
So this is simple. He walked in seconds, was dead.
That's right.
And this is what they're pumping the food with. And you were talking about the numbers of what gets in white flour and things.
Yeah, the level in the flour that was being permitted by the EPA was 125 parts per million. And that flour, wheat flour, goes into dough, pizza dough, bread, cookies, cakes, and so on.
And there's no doubt that's to kill bugs. So you're eating something that's meant to kill bugs. Now, yeah. I'm no rocket scientist, but I mean, that's insane.
But the top of the chain of command, I went to the bottom, in the middle. What about the top? What's the motivation of these people in the Center of Disease Control, etc., Department of Health, Kathleen Sebelius? Why do they keep this going? For me, it's the fear of losing credibility. They have waxed lyrical so much for so long about this practice. I think they fear that if they lose fluoridation, they lose credibility. If they lose credibility, they lose the public's trust, which threatens other public health policies.
This is the same government that secretly injected black people with syphilis.
Yeah.
And now it's come out they were doing it in Latin America, and the atomic soldiers. I mean, these people have no credibility. And I agree with you, Doctor, at that level, at the top policy wonks, but they're taking orders from people like John P. Holdren and people he admired before him, who all wrote about putting things like this in the water to reduce fertility. And we know it reduces fertility. And we know that they see us as animals, as a scourge upon the earth. And that's what my film Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement covers, is their own statements. This is being done by design. I know you only stick with what, you know, the actual chemicals.
And I would make a distinction between the dentists and doctors out there who are usually very decent people.
They're compartmentalized.
Yeah, they do not. I don't think they have any notion other than what they've been told, that fluoridation is good for teeth and that it's perfectly safe.
But I mean, I know you don't like to talk about it, but off record here on camera, I mean, the whole eugenics angle. I mean, have you seen those quotes and statements where they, even in the 40s, talked about how they needed chemicals and they decided on fluoride?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. But I try to put that to one side because we have them on the ropes with the science. You know, the best study they've ever done on tooth decay in the United States, they looked at 39,000 children in 84 communities. And what did they conclude? That if a child had lived all its life in a fluoridated community compared with a child that lived all its life in a non-fluoridated community, there was a saving, average saving for 5 to 17-year-olds of 0.6 of one tooth surface out of over 100 tooth surfaces in a child's mouth. And you have to say to yourself, is this world crazy? Are we doing all this to save 0.6 of a tooth surface? Are we going to threaten their brains, lower IQ, bone damage in adults, arthritis, lower thyroid function, all these possibilities to save 0.6 of one tooth surface? It doesn't make sense, does it?
Well, no, at the end of the day, they've got a toxic waste they can't get rid of, and taxpayers end up paying to have it put in their water. In closing, because in a few minutes you've got to leave here because you've got to go to the Austin City Council, that same day, back on January 10th, 2011, when they said we're going to phase out fluoride as a pesticide because it's so nutritious for your children, U.S. wants to reduce fluoride in drinking water from 1.1 part per million to 0.7. What does that signify?
It signifies that they've having to come back with some kind of way to absorb all this mounting opposition to fluoridation around the country. It's like 0.7 is still too high. I mean, it's 175 times the level in mother's milk. So we really haven't made an advance. But it looks as if they're doing something. It looks as if they care. But on the same day, the Office of Water of the EPA said, we are going to determine a new safe drinking water standard which will protect our children's health and protect the water fluoridation program. And we're saying you can't do both. You can't keep water fluoridation going if the object is to come up with a safe drinking water standard which protects everyone.
Well, how can they everywhere put out water for babies and tell mothers, give this fluoridated water to your baby, when going back 6 years, the American Dental Association said don't give fluoride toothpaste to kids under 6. When what they came out in 99 and admitted it doesn't do anything good when ingested, it's only topical. I mean, they know this. I guess it's some gimmick.
Well, the trouble is the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, has never approved fluoride for ingestion. They've washed their hands of this. They don't. It's an unapproved drug. And so these companies, I guess, can get away with this because the FDA is not watching, is not doing its job. This wouldn't pass the FDA.
Hey, I've got an idea for all these companies to put it out because I know you're watching. How about you come out with purified water with no additives for your baby, or purified water with added minerals, no fluoride? Yeah. I'll guarantee you, just like 10 years ago, all the milk had the growth hormone in it, and in a few stores started getting real organic milk, and now you can't find the non-organic milk. I guarantee you, water producers, you put out a bottle saying no fluoride, because I know most of these companies just want to make money, you're going to make a boatload of money.
Yep.
And the reason I'm giving you that great idea is because I don't like brain damaging children. You care about money, I care about kids not being brain damaged, okay? So, still, you're selfish and evil. You know what you're doing. Why don't you go ahead and advertise it's fluoride free? You'd make a lot more money than going along with this evil, bandwagon.
In fact, the company here in Austin, Texas, is putting out a product. It's called Pure Rainwater. This is rainwater from Oregon, which then goes through extra treatment. So, yes, there is a demand for pure water, for clean water. The only thing I would urge people to do, if they get water which is get everything taken out of it. Make sure you buttress it with the nutrients that you need. Because if
you need the minerals.
You need the minerals. You need the calcium. You need the magnesium and so on. So
now that's the problem with reverse osmosis. Well, Dr. Conant, I just want to say great job. In closing, they're not studying it here, but we do have studies all over the world, prestigious studies on the IQ issue. Close with that, because this is incontrovertible facts.
We have just got 2 studies out. One was an update of a study done in 2003 by Zhang and co-workers from China. And I visited the villages where this study was done, by the way. And he showed that there's a relationship between the amount of fluoride in the plasma of the children and the lowered IQ. So as the level of fluoride in the plasma goes up, the IQ of the children goes down. So that brings it closer to individual dose, not whether they live in this village or that village, but how much fluoride they actually were exposed to. This is relating to IQ. And another study which published just a few weeks ago by Ding and co-workers, they looked at very low levels, 0.3 to 3 parts per million. They find lowered IQ in that range of 0.3 to 3 parts per million. Well, this overlaps the range that we use in the United States, 0.7 to 1.2. So this completely knocks out the notion.
And there's a lot of other studies. Those are just the new ones. We also have studies of animals in other parts of the world.
Over 100 animal studies.
Yeah.
Over 100 animal studies. There's no question. Oh, the EPA itself, the Department of Neurotoxicology, I've forgotten the full title, has said that fluoridation, there is substantial evidence that fluoride is a neurotoxicant. Substantial evidence that fluoride is a neurotoxicant. And here we got this stupid company putting a thing into the water for which the EPA says there is substantial evidence that fluoride is a neurotoxin, damages the brain.
Amazing. We'll leave it at that. Dr. Conant, give us the website.
Fluoridealert.org. Make sure you spell fluoride, F-L-U. Think of fluoride, not fluoride, fluoridealert.org. When you go there, you can see how to get hold of this book, The Case Against Fluoride, and also you'll find a videotape there called Professional Perspectives on Water Fluoridation. It's only 28 minutes long, 15 scientists, 3 from the guys who wrote the National Research Council report, 2 former EPA scientists, a Nobel Prize winner, several other scientists in 28 minutes. If that doesn't convince you that you've got to stop fluoridation in Austin, Texas, and everywhere else in the world that this program goes, I don't know what would do it.
Yeah. Well said. No army can stop an idea whose time has come, as Victor Hugo said. And just great job. We are definitely on the march, and the empire is on the run. Dr. Conant, God bless you, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Alex Jones, signing off for Infowars.com. Please spread this video to the 4 winds. We've got a lot of people to warn. Thank you for watching. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds? Go to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv for the latest headlines and cutting-edge information.